Decoding. Da, da. Zoom in and then boom. Decoding is a simple view. A definition of decoding is the ability to map the letters or graphemes in written words to store, place, or letterbox in the brain that is in our mental dictionary of words. And in that letterbox, we store the meaning of words and their sounds or phonemes and their printed forms. The orthographic forms, the correct spelling. This seems to be fine, but how does decoding fit into the bigger scheme of things? What has it got to do with the real reading? Okay, I think the biggest issue um, most people have with decoding is that uh, they find it strenuous, difficult, and almost second to language comprehension, which I disagree with. But it is easier to teach like the whole word instead of just the phonemes within the words. But at the end of the day, you just get lackluster results, and you just get what many call false reading skills, whereby it looks like they're actually reading, but when you give them a new word that wasn't stored in their letterbox, quote unquote, they don't are unable to recall that word. So I think this is just unreliable form of teaching reading, at least to me. So, oh yeah. It's easy to think decoding as a minor skill, as not very important part of real reading, but in fact it is essential for reading. It is part of the science of reading and how children learn to read. A wide regarded model of reading acquisition is the simple view of reading, SVR. Um, Gao Turmer, Hoover, and Gao 1990, Hoover and Tunmer 2020 to 2022. So I guess this is a little bit a newer thing, but yeah. The model says that reading R, so R is going to be the variable, is a result of interaction with decoding D. D is going to be the variable, and language comprehension LC. LC is going to be the variable for L, language development. Comprehension, I'm sorry. The relationship between decoding and language skill is expressed in a multiplicative form. R equal D, X equals C. I have this written down in the notes. I should attach that this is a part of the SVL simple reading view, but I didn't, so I'll do that right now. So R equal D, R says, so I'm going to put a widely regarded model of reading. So SVR, simple view of reading. It's going to be down here. I should also put the actual names of each variable so I don't get confused when I look back at this. So I'll put this in here and bolden in all the parts, but I don't want to make this too overly complex. It should be able to be followed by anyone. So that's what I'm trying to avoid. But either way, I can shorten this. This is just a direct quote. So reading R is a result of the interaction with the decoding skills. So decoding skills is going to be in relation to D, and language comprehension is going to be in relation to LC. The relationship between decoding and language skill is expressed in the multiplicative form that R equals D. XLC, so reading equal decoding skills, and decoding skills X language skills. Language comprehension. This is going to be a simple formula for what it takes to read. I assume I haven't read through the whole thing, but that's going to be my opening assumption. Should I put this at the side? It looks a bit chunky, maybe like this, but I also want the bottom to be cornered, and I think this part, so this a Wally model is the, so I'm using cut this off all, so it's gonna be cut, so it's a simple view of reading model for reading. So that's gonna be a simpler way. I'll edit it down. I think I should bolden the R, the D, and all the variables inside so it's more noticeable, and that would be great. So I'm gonna embolden all of this. I shouldn't. I won't. I will embolden that part too. So R equals D, C, run. Alright, that should be a simple explanation. I don't like that it forms like this. I like that it's like this better than that. So I'll remove this part so it's more better. This way it's more organized. Alright. So we have that understood, that R just means reading, D just equals decoding skills, and LC is just language comprehension, the relationship between decoding and language expressed in this multiplicative form. So that R equal D, so reading equal decoding, and decoding X LC, which is just a variable for language comprehension, is going to be our simple view for reading, as explained by the upper about the model of reading to which we're going to use for reading acquisition. The formula looks complex, but it's simple. The author notes it is quite straightforward in what it says about reading. To learn to read well, children need to decoding expertise and language knowledge. If one or both factors are weak, they will not learn to read. So see, I think that's pretty good of an explanation. If one variable is weak, then it cannot follow that the other variable is going to be followed through properly. Therefore, the end conclusion isn't going to be that R is realized. So it predicts that reading difficulty can be result of a weakness in either decoding or language or both. On one side of the coin, if the child lacks the ability to decode words, the D is going to equal 0. That even if language is perfect, LC equal utility of 1, they will not be able to read because 0x1 equals 0. I think that's going to be an important category. I'll list that down on our sign over here. I think over here is going to be good. We're going to highlight the box red to show the variables that do not line up. It's going to be good. It's a bit filly. I'll go to the bottom a bit more. This a bit upper, but it's not too up because we can just put that. So this is going to be more straight. I think I'm liking the composition, but it's a bit too flowy. I don't like that too much. I want this to be more straight, but it's okay like this. So that can lead off of this, or I should make this lead off of this in some way, but I didn't think that's going to be correct because we need to be talking about the model itself. So both acquisitions are going to go like this. I think I can just make both of them straight by connecting this to this, but this wouldn't correlate properly because it's really talking about the definition of what that is. So that's going to lead to that. This straight mobile property is going to lead to this. So above connected like this, and this way it's more clear. I can put this there. Uh, we have a simple tree right going on, and that tree is going to lead to more ideas. Right now I'm going to just label this as red. This just means that r equal d xlc, but if one variable equals 0, then the equation cannot go through. So even if one has d equals 0, that just means that they don't know how to decode. The equation can't go through. That just means that there won't be any reading happening. So it's just going to be simple as that. Okay, I'll look into it more. Hopefully, maybe there's some more clarification on that. If there's no more clarification on that, then there's not much I can do. So, okay. So on one side, the document says if the child lacks the ability to decode words, i.e. d equals 0, then even if their language knowledge is perfect, l equals 1, they will not be able to read. So 0x1 equals 0. I see. Maybe that really explains why it's in a multiplicated form. Because if any part of the the equation has a factor of 0 or 0, anything multiplied by 0 is going to lead to 0. That's pretty straightforward. What is an example of a situation where d equals 0? Well, it describes almost every school beginner. Young children, when they first start school, generally have a surprisingly good ability to speak and comprehend English given their young age. In other words, they have a high level of LC, language comprehension. It is something they learn naturally as they grow up, but almost all of them have little or no decoding skills, or D. They mostly cannot read a word like d equals 0. So this is what I was talking about initially. Some people, I want to say teachers, because teachers are actually qualified. So I want to group or lump people into a category which is verifiable through different metrics. So I'm just going to say from anecdotal experience that there are some who believe that language comprehension is going to be enough to teach a child how to read, but this wouldn't mean much sense considering that decoding in a way is what grounds the word in your mind. So you can have a large vocabulary, but this vocabulary doesn't really mean much when you are introduced to a new word, and your spelling skills are not going to be that great because you're just munching everything together. So to get back to the point, by prioritizing LC and ignoring D, your equation is going to still lead to 0. So in the end, they're not going to learn how to read. On the other side of the coin, the SVR, so simple view of reading, says that if the child has perfect decoding, D equal 1, but cannot understand oral language, LC, then they will not be able to read. What is an example of LC equals 0? Well, this might be the situation for a immigrant child who has come from, say, Italy. They may already know how to decode the words in Italian, but they learn to do that in school, in their own country. But if they cannot understand English language, they will not be able to understand what they read in English. In addition, a low-level LC might also be the case for a child with a specific language impairment. There may be other factors as well as account for a lower level of LC. But I can grasp from what they're saying from the initial part is, from the former to be specific, that language comprehension comes naturally in the sorts, unlike decoding, which presumably or presupposed is not naturally done and needed some sort of practice. So in a case whereby you have English speakers as focusing on LC, would it be redundant unless the case of that speaker is not impaired, nor are they a second language speaker. So if their language is English and they've been exposed to English throughout their lives, then you most likely need to focus on D over LC, because LC is naturally formed, are expected to be more non-zero. To learn to read, children need to be able to both decode or D and language comprehension ability or LC. They are both important. The beginner reader needs both. Decoding is not enough on its own to learn reading, and language is not on its own enough. But together, the child will read. In the SVR view, simple view of reading model, the reader is someone with high level of D and LC to read. With comprehension, the child must be able to decode the written text and understand the language it is written in. And so the VR model helps explain a classroom situation where the teacher finds some children can decode their beginner reading books perfectly, but do not understand what they read. Okay. Well, I mean, I don't really understand how that works. If the child can read the books perfectly fine. So I guess language comprehension just really means meaning of words, attaching pictures to the words or some sort of meaning. If they don't know that, I guess they don't really know. But once they've sounded the word out and are able to put them together, like let's say b, b, k, s. I might have messed that up. Right? They say that a lot of books. They've heard the word books before, and they've attached some sort of symbolic meaning towards books, which they can retrieve or recall from their mind. They should be able to know what the word books is. Unless they're talking about something different, or maybe I'm misunderstanding. So to go back to what the author is saying, this is because they don't understand language of the text. One study found that this was the reason for their difficulty, because they did not understand even when the text was read out loud to them. Okay. The problem was not decoding, but language comprehension. As SVR model says, to read well, you still need both skills. SVR also helps to explain a classroom situation where children have excelled language skills but cannot decode words on a page. This case with dyslexia, where children often have very high oral language scores on the test but experience severe difficulty in learning to decode words. This is exactly why the SVR model predicts this is not enough to have high level of LC. The children need a high level of decoding skills as well. The good news for teachers is that the vast majority of English-speaking children, when they start school, already have a high level of English language skills. This is what I pointed out. If you are, like, most of the time, unless you're going to be in a situation where an Italian child or another with a language impairment, which is not uncommon, but most of the time you're going to interact with children who already are exposed to the English language, considering that most people, this is just a presumption of normality, not that is going to be natural within the space itself, but normally most children, when they start school, already have a high level of LC, because by that time they can break apart words, not break apart words, but break apart the sounds. I'm missing this off. Yeah, like when they're spoken to, they can break apart the audios in like clips already, so they can already understand somewhat. So yeah, teachers do not have to go back to the test. Teachers do not have to teach them to talk, of course, as part of their evolutionary inheritance in most cases. Well, that completely contradicts everything I just said a while ago, but it's okay. Children in every country, every language, and every household learn to talk simply by exploring the language spoken around them. They are not blank slates. When they enter the classrooms, their language is not as advanced as for adults, and it does not have the same depth of grammar, vocabulary, and general knowledge, but it's surprisingly skillful. What school beginners lack, however, is the ability to decode. Almost invariably, the school beginner is unable to read a word. This is the main task for the teacher in the first year of school, to teach them how to unlock spelling of words. So 1.3, the chapter is going on. I think there's some takeaways from this. I think the Italian part is going to be good as example. Just me get an example. So children learning beginners. I just need to find out where that is. I could get lost track. There you go. Italian because it's called. Various factors. Children can read language in its slow itself. child with doctors, Italia. So this is gonna be example of LC0. LC0 over here is gonna be pasted, boom, pasted over there. So this is gonna already be outlined. An immigrant child who has come from, let's say, Italy, they may already know how to decode, but they don't know the English language properly enough to which they have a great level of language comprehension. This is gonna go over here as an example of LC0. Since we already have the variables that say LC0, we're gonna just give an example of what this means. I'm gonna go with this part, and I'm gonna separate the examples of, let's say, LC0 versus D equals 0, so we can have a more proper understanding of what's going on. I want to space it out a bit more. I don't like the current setting right now, but it's okay. Now it's not okay. I don't like it. The spacing should be fine. Okay. That doesn't look good to me. Okay, boom. Okay. I think I just need to fix it. What's an example of LC? I can shorten this to as example of LC equal so one, I'm just gonna put I for one, immigrant. In Italian, because they learn the word soon in their country, cannot understand English, they will not be able to understand. In addition, okay, there you go. It's gonna be in addition. So it's gonna be I2. So that's gonna be good. We've clarified what each example is gonna be. So a second language acquisition. No. Okay, that looks good. Zoom out. At the end of the day, you need to make sure these graphs look good, or else it's gonna just look terrible. So it's gonna be an example of LC. I think fix that up, make this right. We can do a pattern subsource like that, but I don't like that, so I'm gonna move this over here, drag this back over here. That looks much better, and then that way I can create a box over here that's gonna contrast that over there. But if you want this to look good, it must be somewhat similar. So we're gonna give an example of D equals 0 as according to the work of the book, Teaching Literacy Effectively in the Modern Age. Okay, what's an example where situation is 0? School beginners, you can children start school effectively. In other words, what have this? Something naturally speak out loud. In other words, school beginner. I like that example where they give with the child speaking out loud but not understand what's going on. That's a better example than just a general that most children start school with that. Yeah, rotating example. Okay, I found the example. These examples are going to be necessary if I'm going to pass on these notes to anyone who wants to read them. So paste. So that's going to be there. I'm just going to, to make this more cozy and more functional, just going to put that up there. That gives me more space. And I can stretch this out. I like when the text are more stretched out, but in simpler forms than just a block of text. Okay, so I think these examples already have some sort of visual image inside of them. So when you imagine someone from Italy, you probably imagine someone from Italy, right? So you already have some sort of imagination going on, so there's no need to add an extra picture, so that's okay. Okay, I need to zoom in a bit more. So what's an example of? So this is gonna be way too long. So I'm just gonna remove this part. Say, make sure to put this. Remove that part. Do. I want it to mirror the one above. So I'm gonna give this a capital E to start off our sentence. Example of situation. So we're gonna have example of d equals 0. Push this to the back side. Well, I described in more school beginners, so this is going to be separated in two parts. Two parts. So there you go. There's a bit of overlap that I'm not liking here, so I'm just going to push it up a little bit more. So while they describe that most almost children, young children, when they first begin, generally have a surprisingly good ability to speak and comprehend English given their young age. In other words, they have a high level of LC. It is something they learn naturally as they grow up, but almost all children have little or no decoding skills, or D. They cannot read a word. D equals 0 on the other side. Okay. I think I'm gonna highlight or embolden some of these integers general points, so it doesn't look too extra-ish. I don't know. No, format, insert a bullet point, a column. I don't know. A bullet point numbered. So there's gonna be a bullet. No, I don't like that. That looks really bad. Maybe some way of making this look a bit more presentable. That's gonna be good. No, comments or math. Just make it math. That's insane. Okay. I guess it's fine like this. So this is just gonna be a part of the. Oh yeah, I can just bold that part and just make it look more presentable. Bold. Bold. Highlight that part. Fix this small mistake. Highlight this again. The backstream running away this time again. Highlighter. I'm just gonna highlight both of these. One immigrant child, they learn to English. Highlight. So I'm gonna highlight this one too. Just good highlights right there. Just make sure I'm good. Alright. It's looking really good, but it's still giving off the vibes of something like, I don't know, I'm zooming out. Okay, I've zoomed out. It still looks okay, I guess. It just looks too academic. No, it looks too boring, I don't know. Okay. I'm gonna continue. All right, we went through that part. We know what LC equals zero. LC equals zero just means lack of language comprehension, but we know this rarely happens outside of just minority cases, to which where you have an Italian student who is trying to acquire a second language but doesn't understand the initial language of English, and you also have English impairment. So we understand that D is going to be the primary variable at hand to which we're going to focus on. Decoding is not enough to learn on its own. Language is not enough on its own, but together children will read. The VR, so simple view of reading. I like to reaffirm these. Forgot what they're called. VR model. The reader is someone with a high level of D and LC. To read with comprehension, the child must be able to decode the written text and understand the language it is written in. The SVR model helps to explain the classroom situation where the teacher finds some child or children can decode and they're beginning reading books perfectly but do not understand what they read. This is because they do not understand the language of the text. One study found that the reason for this difficulty is because they not understand even what the text when the text was read out loud to them. So that's gonna be a vital. That's gonna be a final thing. Says the reading both skills. I attach this because this is gonna just be a good part for this one. Because this one, so in other words, they have a high level naturally grow up, but almost all of them have little to do with the coding skills. So I'm going to add a section right here on regards to that, so that way we understand a little bit more of what's going on. Oh, no, okay. Who's there? Oh, way to go back. No. I'm gonna remove this part. This part seems vital to me. Okay. So I think this is gonna be the explanatory power. Breaks this down. It can really sum up this LTCV or SVR view, which is basically this. Okay, so the problem was not decoding, but language comprehension. As the SVR view says, to read well, you need both skills. The SVR view also helps, so the simple view of reading also helps to explain a classroom situation where children have excellent language skills but cannot decode the word on the page. This is the case with dyslexia, where children often have very high oral language scores on the test but experience severe difficulty in learning to decode words. This is exactly what the SVR model predicts. This is not enough to have a high level of LC. The child needs a high level of D as well. The good news for the teacher is that the vast majority of English-speaking children, when they start school, already have a high level of English language skills. The teacher do not have to teach them to talk as a part of their evolutionary inheritance. In most cases, children in their country In every country, every language, and every household learn to talk simply by being exposed to the language spoken around them. They are not blank slates, and when they enter the classrooms, their language is not as advanced as for adults, but it does not have the same depth of grammar, vocabulary, and general knowledge, but it's surprisingly skillful. What school players lack, however, is the ability to decode. Almost invariably, the school beginner is unable to read a word. This is the main skill for the teacher in the first year of school to teach them how to unlock the spelling words. Okay, we've went through what that is. So teaching decoding, what can go wrong, and how to fix it. If they're gonna introduce a part that says what can go wrong, mm, then I'll need to introduce another part. So, or I can go further up. Further up. Name this part. What can go wrong? Okay. So it's gonna go like this. No, that's. I'm gonna put it a bit lengthy, a bit up. I'm just gonna name this the title of this part of the paper 1.3. What can go wrong? Teaching, decoding, what can go wrong, how to fix it. So I'm gonna just label this line red, because it symbolizes maybe a wrong turn for the worst. And I'll cut how to fix it part, save this for later. So what can go wrong? So everything in this box is presumably going to be red. Okay. Overall picture, that looks really okay. Looks fine. Okay. We need to go back to the contents to understand what they're talking about. We must teach decoding, that is letter sound rule of English writing. It seems that simple enough. Can anything possibly go wrong? Nothing can go wrong, but sometimes when the teacher steps back from a hurly-burly of a busy classroom and take a closer look, they see that some children are not learning. Consider these two scenarios. That show how sometimes the best laid lesson can go astray. Scenario 1, learning the alphabet. Each day, first thing in the morning, these beginner readers chant the ABCs. Eh, ah, apple, be, bee, butterfly, k, wait, k, cat? Are they mixed? Wait. So, when, what? Eh, apple. So they're okay. B. They're stretching it too much. B. They're adding too much breath. Butterfly. K. Cat. They're missing. They're mixing it up. The. The. They're drawing it too much. Dog. Elephant. They're not getting the pure phonic, the phone. They're not getting the pure phoneme. They're drawing it out too much. Okay, and so on. There is a chorus of letters and words, and the atmosphere is loud and lively. You watch the class, but as you watch closely, you notice that while some confidently lead the way, others stumble and some are silent. Is the task cognitively too complex? For some, yes. It is. These beginners are having to learn four different things at once: the alphabet names, their sounds, the uppercase forms of letters, and the lowercase forms as well. Clearly, for some of the class, the cognitive load is too much. Some were lost or confused. So the question is, why teach the alphabet this way? Why not teach just one at a time? A simple change like teaching just the sounds of the letters and just the lowercase forms would make the task much more achievable for every student. I agree. I completely agree. I'm gonna just read scenario two. Okay. Now imagine a year one class where the class looks forward to reading a new decodable book, but before doing so, the publisher's teacher's handbook requires that children need to read correctly a list of 30 isolated words at the front of the book. The time one child takes to read the word, some 15 minutes, raises the question whether this is the most practical way for children to practice their decoding skills. What message are we sending to these beginners? Decodable books certainly can help children put their phonics knowledge into practice, but having to face the list of 30 words that are hard to decode seems to be sending some students the message that they are failures. This is where the teacher has to consider a change of tack. If the list of words is too difficult, then surely the decodable book is too difficult. Should the teacher select a decodable book that fits better with the class current decoding skills, or perhaps try a different approach, like reading the book first and then after reading the book, review the list of words with the class? To the outside observer, the case like this, the designers of the early literacy programs are not taking into account that the task is too hard. They are expecting children to run before they can walk. We create complexities unwittingly, and when simplicity is more effective. The message of these two different scenarios is that sometimes the school reading program can leave children lost at the sea while the ship sails on. We can make it too hard to work out the letter sound rules of English writing. If we see that some children are not learning it, is a signal to slow the ship down and simplify the task, to reconstruct or restructure the lessons. On the one hand, these scenarios and the problems they describe can be the task of teaching decoding feel overwhelming. On the other hand, it's actually a good thing. It shows that teaching is not about blindly following the programming given in the above scenarios. The knowledgeable teacher can see children are struggling and still think outside the square to solve the issue. Sometimes slowing down, keeping it simple, and putting a step-by-step teaching approach and slow and steady will make the huge positive difference to their progression. Okay, so we're gonna have to put this in our graph, our obsidian graph, so it's all manageable at the end of the day. So scenario two was a bit more longer, as it explains a scenario whereby the program asks the child as a prerequisite to know a few more words that maybe the child can. Okay, wait, the child can decode these words, but these words are hard to decode in general. So when the child looks at these 30 words, it can be a bit overwhelming, considering that it's really just implying that maybe you're a failure for not being able to decode them as easily as you wanted, even if you had the decoding skills necessary, though limited, to decode these words. So, gonna go over to the graph. So, gonna label this scenarios. I'm gonna put this in the middle, so it's okay. I don't like that he did that, but okay, whoa, go back. I don't know why he did that. Okay, this doesn't look too bad, but it looks silly. One more. One more. There you go. No, too much. It's too much. No. One more. There you go. No. It's like, come on. Fix yourself. Fix yourself, buddy. If one line goes off, I'm absolutely cooked. I cannot. Okay, wait. There must be a way to fix this. Okay. Insert call out line rules. Oh, I need something. I don't need it in code. I'm not writing code. I'm not using Java. I need it regular, man. Common. I don't need this. I need to understand this better. Okay. Okay. Insert. Okay. Calm down. Bold. That fixes everything. But there's a problem. All the stars are still in it. What's the point of embolden if all the stars are still present? Okay, boom. I'm just gonna smallen that. Boom. Hopefully the line didn't become wonky. Okay. Okay, whoa. So I'm gonna split them in two. So scenario one's gonna be over here. You kind of represent like you start off on the right when you start. Wait. You start on the left when you start to read. So I guess you kind of read this first. We're getting somewhere. I guess what makes this look bad is because this part's not really finished. I'm gonna reread over the section on our DLC in order to just fill in this part a little bit more. Okay, I'm gonna just highlight this, maybe green, to show maybe a positive. Okay. Kids, these are just explanations from what I'm saying. Green. I'll look out. It looks somewhat better. I kind of like it. Maybe an example. I just want this to be more equal. I'm gonna just take this, jump it up a little bit. I want to get that video game style. So on one side is combined ability to know knowledge. So LC equal 0. Bro, fix that. On this line it's gonna be in D equals 0. And maybe it gives that more video game as that, like you're looking at choices and it makes it more fun. Okay, zoom out. Yeah, that looks pretty nice. I'm just gonna use this as maybe the explanatory. I'm misusing the word probably, but I'm just gonna call this explanatory power. Explanatory. That's terrible. Explanatory power. Jesus Christ. I need power. God. You just call this definition. Initiative. This line doesn't really make sense. Yeah, that makes more sense. I'll be back. back. Probably gonna have to search up what explanatory power means. Oh, it's freezing. Okay. Just so I don't look ridiculous. Okay. Oh, brother. Explanatory. Explanatory power means how well a theory, idea, or explanation makes sense, or the fact that evidence or phenomena is supposed to be addressed. A theory with high explanatory power doesn't just describe things; it shows why they happen. Oh my god, dude. Explain. Jesus Christ, man. Why is the AC so high? I don't know. I like it though. A theory with high explanatory power doesn't just describe things, it shows why they happen. It ties different observations together and makes them more understandable. A theory with low explanatory power might fit facts, but they don't really help us see the deeper connection of reasoning behind them. For example, saying it rains because water fell from the sky has low explanatory power. It just restates the facts. Saying it rained because warm air cooled, causing water vapor to condense, is a droplets. Uh, higher. This is higher explanatory power. It connects the phenomenon to broader principles in meteorology, not meteorology. Okay, so I got that term right. I feel endowed with a secret land. LZ expedition definition. So maybe I can make this more lengthy. Or I could connect this to this. Yeah, that makes sense. I'll pull it up a little bit more. Guess I can turn this line into something. Yeah, that makes more sense. So all the power is gonna go through and then equal all of this. Explanatory power definition, that makes sense. Okay, just gonna remove this box. It clutters. Move. Okay. I don't like this image, but it makes sense. But I don't like it. I don't know. It's from phonics for peoples with special educational needs. This was one of the images, so it describes somewhere decoding. Okay, so we're on the next part of the book. So just have to put scenario 1. Put this closer because both of these are in conjunction with one another. I don't know why they're so separate. Squeeze it down, squeeze it down, squeeze it down. No, squeeze it up. It looks too squinchy. Okay, scenario 1. Maybe I want to put scenario 1 over here because you should be reading left to right. So when people read this, they're gonna read left to right. Hopefully. Oh, baby, I wish you would leave me. Okay. So scenario 1 got copied, and then we're gonna place it over here. Yeah. This is a really long one. But if it's scenarios, teaching decoding can go wrong. You can overlook things. Scenario 1, I can just highlight it. Take one complexity only in this message. Say for you. Fix. Okay. Okay. There you go. I'm gonna make this a bit bigger to just equal this so it looks. Oh, brother. I just makes everything look complicated. So we're gonna go down. We have the source, message, source, up. Scenario 2. So we're gonna copy this out. I think I should include the scenarios. Yeah, lengthen this. There's must be a way to make this smaller. So scenario 2. Now imagine in year 1 class, the book, a new decodable book. But before doing so, the publisher's teacher handbook requires the child to need to read correctly at least a list of 30 isolated words in front of the book the first time. So instead of a text block, you're gonna just put it down there and look for the full stops, go up there, and it should be easier to run through. There you go. I can do the same for this to get that length in. Need to find a full stop. Yeah, it's not gonna be a full stop. Okay. So it's gonna be red to show that it's gonna be bad. Then another box is gonna be above. The other box is gonna be explaining what's gonna happen. So this box is gonna be green because the text that's gonna go in this box is gonna be about how. On the other hand, these scenarios, the problems. The scribe can make the task of teaching decoding feel overwhelming. On the other hand, it's actually a good thing. It shows that teaching is not about blindly following the programming given. In the above scenarios, the knowledgeable teacher can see children are struggling and think that outside the square to solve the issue, sometimes slowing down and keeping it simple and using step-by-step teaching approach and slow and steady will make the huge positive difference to their progress. I like this. Okay, so this is just going to be the green box. So we're finally out of the red zone, basically. Now in the green zone. Okay, so we're at the next part. Experience. So the general advice is just to slow down, step by step sometimes. Okay. I'm gonna put that in bold. Because it's really important, and I agree. So, yeah. Sometimes. So I wish I could formatted it so it's in the middle. Format. There's nothing really there. Uh, Here, there's nothing. Okay, it's a new box. I'm just gonna keep going up and up and up until I reach maybe when I reach outside of the coding. So when I reach outside of the coding, I'm gonna go up and up and up until I switch maybe to horizontal to capture another concept inside of the document. So that way it's more understandable for anyone who reads the notes. Okay. So we're gonna go up and up. So the new topic is gonna be the new chapter. New chapter is when you make awareness an essential prerequisite to decoding. Wait, how am I gonna do this? It wouldn't make everything okay. If it's gonna be a prerequisite, it's gonna have to be below, right? If it's gonna be below, whoa. If I really want this to be accurate, I gotta go below. Because what's gonna be a prerequisite if the prerequisite is not like fully explained properly? Like, so because we understand a prerequisite is gonna be what you do before you do that. So what you're gonna do X before you go to Y. Because X is gonna be the foundation for Y. Simple. So I think I'm just gonna go lower. That way it makes more sense. I think that's good enough. Okay. I'm confused. Wait. I need to drop this. I see a link. Okay, more maybe more over here. Right to well. Okay, I'm gonna put it right here. Please say you work. That's not what I want. Remove you. I'm gonna add a box. I'm gonna put the words in this box. I'm gonna put the box up here. I'm gonna put this. No, it's not gonna look good. Okay, I'll just go back with what I had before. Okay, lines. Okay, and I just need to pull this up. No. Okay. Da, 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 da. Okay. Prerequisite. So I'll start on this line. Yeah, I'm confusing myself. Okay, this kind of makes sense. I'll connect it to the top. If I could change this a bit more. Okay. Okay. This doesn't make sense. I'm confusing myself. Okay. Okay. What am I doing? Okay. So prerequisite is gonna have to be something like this. A prerequisite gonna be below. So it's gonna be a foundation. So Y, X. I need to make it like this. Boom. So this is gonna be decoded. Trying to think. Decoding. X is gonna be phonemic awareness. Oh. It's gonna be phonemic awareness. This is gonna be a prerequisite. It's gonna be a prerequisite. Because it comes before. So I need to add a box right here. But it's a prerequisite. Since the prerequisite, all the information here, all the information is going to be here. It's going to be changed to line. Line is going to be bidirectional. Bidirectional line just means that everything here. So X equal X so I get it. So I'm gonna need to finally understand. Just use that as a guide. Getting confused, I don't know why. So the box is gonna go here. So this is gonna be the first box. Okay. And down, down, down. So this is gonna be a connecting line in the. So in this line, it's gonna say phonemic awareness as a prerequisite to decoding. That way everything seems sensible. Because if I don't have it like that, it's gonna be, pretty hard to do. Oh, shit. What? It's like, yeah, you're an individual line. Okay. And paste. There you go. Finally. Finally. I don't like this line though, because this line is a bit contradictory. I want this line to go. No. I'm gonna remove this line. I don't like this line. I'm a bit too nitpicky, but it's okay. Okay. Everything looks fine. Looks good. I'm gonna read through most of the book and then come back to this. Okay. hmm Phonemic awareness, an essential prerequisite to decoding. Maybe not. One roadblock in learning to decode words is a lack of phonemic awareness. If the child lacks this awareness, they will struggle to decode. If they do not know, for example, the child's first sound is sun, it will be hard for them to understand what the teacher means when they say the letter S and has the sounds. There's much evidence to show that phonemic awareness helps children to decode words. First, phonemic awareness predicts the decoding progress. If you have phonemic awareness, it's easier to learn to read. Second, most children with severe reading difficulties lack phonemic awareness. It will be hard for them to read the word dog if they are unaware that dog has three sounds, i.e., phonemes: d, uh, g. Third, studies have found that if we teach phonemic awareness, then it helps children to with decoding words. This is especially the case if we teach phonemic awareness at the same time as teaching the 26 alphabet letters. I knew this. I was trying to tell this person and he didn't listen. But anyways, what am I on about? This is especially the case if we teach phonemic awareness at the same time as teaching the 26 alphabet letters. I told this person I used to know that you can be teaching 26 letters of the alphabet and teach them. No, she was teaching them 26 letters of the alphabet, all of the uppercase and lowercase letters, and also wanted to teach them the letter sounds. And she didn't think that they won't learn to decode from this, but they just get confused. And then she kept on going, oh, it's just because their memories are bad. Their memories are bad. Their memories are bad. Woman, have you gone senile? What do you mean their memories are bad? Maybe you're overcomplicating everything. I don't know. Crashing out. Writing, very simple, is speech written down. In English, speech written down a series of letter sounds. The right dog. We write dog as DOG. It seems obvious to an adult who can decode, but many young children, when they start school, do not understand this. They may think sandwich starts with SAN and that biscuit starts with BIS. They will not know the first sound of their name. They know that words mean something, but they do not know that words are made of phonemes. Example, if we ask some 5-year-old question as what are the two sounds in no, one child says no thank you. We ask what are the two sounds in up, another said go up. We ask what word is is did I say it right? Nice. NIE. And what word is NICE? Another said, you're nice. What exactly is phonemic awareness? It is part of a more general awareness of sound, our speech, called phonological awareness, as figure 1.1 shows. This knowledge of the structure of words as at a wider level is knowing that rabbit is a word, and in addition it's knowing that rabbit has two syllables, rab and then bit. A syllable is a unit of speech containing a vowel and any consonant preceding or following that vowel. It is also knowing that syllables can break into parts, onset and rhyme. The consonant before the vowel make up the onset of the syllable. The vowel and the consonant that follow, if any, within the syllable make up the rhyme. This is the onset rhyme structure, so we can break the first syllable rab in rabbit into its onset r and rhyme ab. We can break the second syllable bit into B and it, we can then break the onset and the rhyme into phonemes. So b. So and then add b, it, bit. So R-A-B and then B-I-T. We can then break the onset and the rhyme into phonemes. A, b, and b. I'm adding the H, but I, I, t. I think I got it right. Probably not. We can then break the onset and the rhyme into phonemes. A phoneme is the smallest unit of sound that conveys stuttering is the smallest unit of sound that conveys a distinction in meaning. Henry 2010, page 316. D12. A student who has phonemic awareness has the insight that spoken words are made up of a sequence of separable sounds and the ability to manipulate sounds in words. In the English language, there are 44 phonemes with slight variants depending on dialect. The 26 letters of the alphabet represent these 44 phonemes. Since there are more phonemes than letters, each phoneme can be represented by a single letter. Example B, or a combination of letters. Example ch or ow. Level of phonological awareness, word, syllable, onset, rhyme, phoneme. I'm gonna paste that picture in the set so you understand. Paste the picture as we go. There you go. Zoom in. I'm just gonna I think it's gonna look more cooler if I remove the background, make it more transparent, and just leave all the lines alone. I'll try to change it in Krita so it looks just for the appeal. That's it. Just for the aesthetics. Because we're not basic. I won't accept basic work. I need something aesthetically pleasing. Paste into new image as web sRGB. Use standard colors. Okay. I'll change the screen so it's not just on this. Okay. Where is Krita? I'll use another window. Window capture the OBS links. Not video capture, discard. That's crazy. I don't think. So window capture and roll up and roll. Show them my window. Did it work? Close this. Show it. I swear to God, I put it on. Okay. I close this. Close this. Open this. It shows that. Open this. It shows that. Krita is not opening. I'll leave it as it is. No need to fuss too much. And then you go to the page and okay. Erase tool. Cut. Hopefully this is gonna be easy. So get select button. You're not unable to see anything, but something's being done. Something insanely great is occurring while you cannot see. Am I? Okay, copy. I hope I can just paste it. Paste. Whoa, whoa. Is it not loading in? Of course it doesn't load in. And then I do it again. So I'm just gonna save it. Save it as a PNG. The PNG is gonna call figure 1.1. So I don't get confused. 1.1. Okay. I'm sending this over. Images, not images. So I have to find that on my button. Okay, figure 1.1, figure 1, figure 1. Come on, just work. Figure. He's not working. Oh, figure, please. Okay, there you go. I found it. Oh, that looks terrible. I need to fix it up a bit more. Some more stuff to erase till it's perfect for me. Perfect for us. I need love in my look back at this. Oh, so only the O's, all the circles still have color. Oh my gosh. Do I really want to go through all these O's just to get a perfect thing? I think I want to do this. I want to remove all this because for the sake. Wait. What am I doing? I can just remove all of this. I didn't just use the words itself. Okay, so I'm just gonna get a big eraser button. And it's gonna look much more cooler. Okay. Get an eraser. Erase this. Erase that. Yeah, this is much smarter. That way, I can make it look like an original piece. Oh, ew. Oh my god, bro. No way. Let go. Erase. 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 Okay. Now I'm gonna save it as the same file. It's gonna ask me if I want to replace it. I'm gonna replace it, cover it up, and we're gonna go back to Obsidian. Then I'm gonna remove this garbage photo, and then I'm gonna paste in what I wanted before. Just a new photo right there. Posted 11/24/44. It's gonna be a new picture. This is gonna be a beautiful picture. Oh my god. Okay, so I'm just gonna have to color this different. Use the picking wheel, but I don't like this dot. I don't like this dot. It's messing with me. It's messing with me. Yeah, I don't like that dot. I'm gonna have to remove it. Create a new picture. Okay. Alright, time to save it again. Yes, replace. Okay, thank you. And I'm gonna get that picture again. Not that. Just a good thing. 11 ink PNG. Posted a second. Oh, that looks better. Without that dumb dot next to it. That just. I don't know. I don't like that dot at all. At all, I don't. Remove. But there. And then color match this to what I see over here. That looks really good. Yeah, I like that. No, the dot's still there. I don't know. I don't like that. I swear I removed it. I'm confused. Okay, I'm gonna remove none of these are good. None of these are good at all. I don't like that. I don't know. Okay, PNG 4848487445. data. Oh my god, dude. Are we serious? Are we serious, dude? Get out. Um, where is it? PNG P4 uh 942004. Did I not remove it? I removed it. I'm just gonna call it a new file. Add another one. Save. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna get rid of this garbage. I completely messed up because now I'm stuck in this mode. Don't even know how to get out. Okay. Okay. I'm ready. Are you ready? Something happened there. Oh. Okay, scroll up. Take this. Just need to remove this. Then I need to get the picture. This is all taking too much time. Please don't have that mistake. Oh, there you go. But I need to broaden the picture. Put it back. Broaden the picture. I should have cropped it. It looks odd. It looks so odd. I can't paste stuff over it because there's no layers. So I'm gonna just have to crop this, create another file, and then do this again. Okay, close as possible. Okay, cropped, crop. Okay, and then I need to save the same file. Save as. Save as 1.2111 ones, just so in case I don't get mixed up. I will have to delete the other ones. Okay, and then you have to go bye because you're a mistake. Get away, you're a mistake. 1111. This is simply beautiful. Okay, connected. The line looks crooked. Okay. There's something crooked about it. The line looks curved. Maybe this whole spot needs to be moved over. Okay. So it's definitely something to do with this. Something to do with this. Then I need to go into this. Again, I mixed up the lines again. So I'm gonna get the color wheel. Color wheel is gonna go on this. That looks good. Semi good. Okay. No, I don't like it. No, I don't like it. No, I don't like it. Remove this. It can't be a main set by itself. I need to move this down more. Open the onset. Move this over there. This is gonna be an example piece. It's gonna be over here. You have to put that closer. Everything else is gonna be out the side. It's gonna just be a referential pick. Over here is gonna be the good coder. I'm finished with this. Okay. It's gonna be way up here. Hopefully there's gonna be enough information to fit everything in. The picture is finished. There you go. So everything else gonna latch off of it. But I need to finish. I need to delete this because this is too much. But I need to delete this because I don't want to interrupt the flow of the pictures. So this is gonna be figure 1.1 as described into the book. This should be up because it doesn't look proper. It doesn't have color. 1, 2, 3 up. Okay. Okay, alright. Go back to the book. All right, finally can go on to the next chapter. Alright, I just need to finish labeling this. So it shouldn't be called words. Words. I bolded them. So I need to put this in a second headliner. So, yeah. So, insert header 2 needed to be bigger. These is gonna be bold, emboldened. You emboldened. Okay, close this down. Too much. Where's gonna be over there? Oh my god, dude. Oh my god. Oh, kill me. There's no way of connecting it, right? That's insane. Don't tell me I have to do this all over again. Word. Okay. Next is gonna be a syllable. This doesn't make sense. Oh my god. I'll need to cut it separately. Oh, I'm losing my mind. Why do I think this is a good idea? Oh, well. Is there a way to like fix this? Okay. Cut. I can overlap it. Yeah, the overlap looks fine, I guess. It's not as good as I wanted it. Okay. Syllable. Syllable. Header 2. It's insane. And then bold. Bold. There's 44 phonemes for 26 alphabetic letters. Are you insane? Next, we're gonna be onset rhyme. These are gonna for and all that stuff. Onset rhyme. After that's finished, move it to dash. I can do it like a pyramid style. Okay, head 2. They're gonna be bold. That's gonna be over there. I guess it looks good. I guess it can be its own pyramid. Like boom. I need to make this a little bit younger. Boom. This looks terrible, I guess. Okay. I think a good way to make this more poppy is gonna be a dark line, the darkest one. This one's gonna be a slightly lighter line, maybe it's a scalar property lighter. It's gonna be a slightly lighter line. Lighter line leads to the onset. The onset leads to rhyme. I mean, with this, I can then give explanations through boxes. So it's not all I can give explanations through boxes. So what a syllable is, what a word is. So I guess it all makes sense somehow. Maybe it's better than what I hoped. Okay, wrong buttons. Okay, boom. Okay. So each definition is gonna go in there. I didn't forget the phonemes. Or don't forget. I wouldn't forget the phonemes. As though I would forget. You're insane. I wouldn't forget the phonemes. The phonemes are the smallest unit of sound. I would never forget the phonemes. Okay. There's a trip. Right, I forgot to put this in capital. I am washed. Capital W. Not two W's. Capital W. My delete button's not working. Oh god. Oh, things have gone for the West. Okay, expand. I don't need this. Okay. I'm gonna just cut you. Syllables. I'm gonna have to just. Oh, brother. Oh, brother. Big mistakes. So that's gonna cut. Okay. Big S. Big S. Cut the two small S's. Cut. Fix you back into position. Onset. Big O. And then delete the three smaller O's. That way everything's grammatic, punctuation, all that stuff's correct. Onset rhyme. G04. Okay. So this line is going to be a bit weaker. It's going to be the weakest line. Okay. That's good. Sugar on my skin. Boom. And there you go. A little bit too light. Doesn't really show that delineation too much. No, that's too light. Okay. Okay. Sure. Okay. Oh, it's too light. Okay, a little bit darker. There you go. I can increase the size of this a bit. Lowered it a bit. All of this is gonna be above and a bit up. Last one's gonna be phoneme. P. Oh, sorry, my delete button does not work, but okay. Does not work. E, and an extra E. There's an extra M. Oh. Okay, and then in bold. Okay, finally. Did I need another box? So that box is gonna just be for definitions. Okay, everything's going fine. Okay, I'll end it there because there's not much. We only went through a few pages, not all pages. We haven't really even addressed decoding in of itself. We're just looking over some simple SVR view. We haven't even discussed the precursors of phonemic awareness. Not much was done when it comes to content, but graph-wise, everything is laid out for something in the future. So much can be added to this. This foundation can be expanded greatly. Therefore, I think I can push to 2 hours. Yeah, I think so. It's better. Okay, I just read through more of this content. I think I'm gonna just leave the graph. Just read through the content. Okay, phonemic awareness as a precursor. We already read through that. It's also knowing that a syllable can break into parts. Onset and rhyme. The constant before the vowel makes the onset of the rhyme the vowel and the constant that follows it, if any, within the syllable make up the rhyme. This is the onset rhyme structure, so we can break the first syllable rab into rabbit into the onset R and the rhyme AB, and we can make and we can break this second syllable bit into B and it. We can then break the onset and the rhyme into phonemes, RAB, BIT. A phoneme is the smallest unit of sound that conveys a distinction in meaning. A student who has phonemic awareness has the insight that spoken words are made up of a sequence of separable sounds and the ability to manipulate sounds in words. In English language, there are 44 phonemes with slight variance depending on dialect. The 26 letters of the alphabet represent these 44 phonemes. Since there are more phonemes than letters, each phoneme can be represented by a single letter. Example B, and the combination of letters G, cha, ch, and OW. Decoding skills, teaching phonemic awareness to young children does not need to take much class time during the school year, suggested about 5 and 18 hours total, no more. Unwittingly, some programmings go way beyond the suggested time, 30 to 40 hours. What should a teacher do? The important thing is to check is the class has this awareness when they are learning to read. If they have it, then you have done your job. No need to continue teaching it. They give a history lesson. The story of English, Shakespeare, Anglo-Saxon layer of English. I'm just gonna skip over the history lesson. Save that for next time. Research on the best way to teach decoding. The science of reading supports a structured approach to teaching decoding. Meta-analysis research, where the result of many studies are averaged to find a general pattern of effectiveness, has found that on average, when you look at the effects of a large number of studies, the systematic structured teaching of decoding, especially using phonics, is more effective than other approaches. National Reading Panel, NICHD. An influential example of successful structured teaching using a decodable approach was a study in I can't pronounce that, but it was in Scotland that taught phonics to a large group of students, 5-year-olds. The study found that after 10 weeks of structured synthetic phonics, the group who received these instructions were reading ahead of their chronological age compared to with a control group who did not get this teaching. When reassessed at age 12, the phonics children were still reading words well ahead of their chronological age, comprehending what they read. One feature of the study was that teachers taught the 26 letters more quickly than the control group. The phonics children learned one letter a day, while the control group learned letter sound a week. The speed in learning they may have propelled the phonics children forward. The result of that study influenced change the policy in England towards teaching synthetic phonics and led to the implication of new reading curriculum called Letters and Sounds. Phonics learned 26 weeks. There's okay. The phonics children learn one letter sound a day, while control group. Okay. Well, some children learn to read while others fail. Why some children learn to read while others fail? Despite years of academic training, many pre-service teachers feel unprepared to teach decoding skills to children, especially phonics, possibly because lecturers discussing the essential decoding skills get very little academic coverage. Students learn in their own training that they need to teach decoding, but they may not learn how to teach their these essential coding skills, such as phonology. Phonological knowledge seems to help teachers self-belief and self-agency for teaching for decoding skills. Without these coding skills, many children will fail to read. There are other options to read besides decoding, but these options will not end well. One option for the beginner is to memorize words by their looks, but this is not a good way to go. There are too many words to memorize. They can perhaps memorize 30 or 40 words, but soon too many words will look the same. This may be why many beginners confuse words like dad, sad, I and is, we, went, and dog and girl. All these words have some visual similarity. Another option is to use context clues and pictures in text reading to work out words, but this seems also the wrong way to go. Context can help, and surely does sometimes, yet context is a false friend. Context helps the child with predictable words, but less, if at all, with unpredictable words. Context helps the children where she needs it least. Let her down when she needs it the most. Context clues have only limited predictive power. So if it has limited predictive power, it would have limited explanatory power, right? Uh, uh, Context can help with functions like the, but not content words that carry the main meaning of the word. Sophisticated guessing of words is not what skilled readers do. Skilled readers do not need to guess. They simply decode the word. Only beginners and older unskilled readers have to rely on context to guess words. To teach children to guess words with context clues rather than sound them out may work for some, or for some, but for many children it will not end well. The aim of this next chapter is to give teacher effective methods to teach decoding, one that will work and that will enable all children to decode words with success. Conclusion. Well, that was a quick introduction to decoding. What it is, decoding skill essential for reading success. Students need systematic instruction to learn the skills. They need to follow a structured approach with a clear scope and sequence, as described in the next chapter. Success in reading in the early grades is all about learning the for more 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 phonemic nature of Anglo-Saxon writing system that words follow certain morphemic and sound letter sound rules. It is so worth spending time teaching children to decode words well. You're teaching a critical skill for learning to read. Assessing decoding. Introduction 2.1. Teachers have good intuitions about children's decoding levels, but sometimes it's hard to explain why children, our students, are at that level or what to do about it. It's one thing to diagnose the problem, another to resolve it. Assessment helps teachers to understand where children are at in their decoding skills. Using a formal or informal measures is like bringing in an outside expert to see what is happening. It is more objective. It gives more insight, really gives insight as to what action to take. Intuitions are valuable. There are many times when teacher has to act intuitively to make quick decisions. On the other hand, backing up intuitions with objective data is important. Sometimes students seem to be doing fine, but they unwittingly mask their difficulties, and we do not see that they are struggling to learn. It's not clear why they do this. Perhaps they want to please the teacher and not seem dumb. Yet they are in fact way behind their classmates. The teacher thinks they are progressing, but they are not. Informal observations in the classroom can give insights as to where they are struggling and why. Only by assessing the children's progress can the teacher gain a more complete picture as to why and what of the decoding journey. This chapter will cover the following topics: standardized assessments, informal assessments, alphabetic knowledge, informal assessment of phonemic awareness, informal assessment of basic decoding skills, a case study assessment example, and 2.2 standardized assessment. There are a number of standardized measures of real and non-word reading available on the internet for publishers. A stumbling block for teachers is that very often published measures are not accessible in the classroom because specialist training and assessment is required for purchase. And how do we assess decoding skills? In order to assess non-word decoding skills, this chapter includes an informal measure of decoding skills, the alien word test, table 2.3. In addition, however, the teacher should use the standardized test of word reading. They are normed on a wider population, and they do indirectly have diagnosis, di- diag- diagnostic. Why I don't know. I can't pronounce that. Di- diag diagnostic value in that unless children have some decoding skills, they will not be able to read the list of graded words in the test. Okay. Standardized tests give an indication of how children decode words compared with other children of the same age. It is important for teachers to know whether their student is able to decode word as well as their peers. We have used two word measures, reading measures that do not require the teacher to have a specialist training. The Scholl-Snell word reading list gives a word reading age. Here's a link. Okay, gives a link. I'll click. I hope I don't get a virus. Oh, oh, it's the whole link. I'm gonna end it off here. Maybe I'm gonna watch something in the meantime to get up to 2 hours. Um, it was interesting. Uh, sure.